If there was one easy skill that could blow up your business and your channel fast, would you try it? Well, there is, and the ugly truth is that you're losing viewers because your stories are just not that good. But there are many small channels out there blowing up just after a few videos just because they understand the art of storytelling. Meanwhile, your channel's just sitting there in the corner thinking, what about me? So today, I'm gonna show you my secret storytelling tricks that help me and my clients get hundreds of thousands of views, tens of thousands of dollars, and email signups. I'm also gonna show you how you can create a high quality story in minutes, even if you're a complete beginner. But I warn you, storytelling is one of the most underrated skills on YouTube right now. So the creators that jump with this now will have a huge advantage because once everybody else catches on, then it'll be way harder to stand out on YouTube. But first, let's talk about the biggest mistakes most YouTubers make with storytelling. And this mistake turns your story into a jumbled mess full of random moments that don't connect and move the story forward. This confuses your viewers and kills your retention curves, leaving it looking like this. But all it takes is one simple idea that I've taught to over 40 of my students to stop this mistake from happening. And the best way to explain it is with a jigsaw puzzle. So imagine you've just opened up a brand new 1,000 piece puzzle. You dump all of the pieces onto the table and it's complete chaos. You start grabbing random pieces hoping that they'll fit together, but you just can't seem to figure it out. So after hours of frustration, you've got a few awkward sections that don't make sense, and you're struggling to figure out what the picture is supposed to be. But then it hits you. You've got the box. The picture on the lid shows you the final masterpiece. And suddenly it all makes sense. Now you know to start with the edges, group the colors, and then work your way towards that epic mountain scene in the middle. But storytelling works the exact same way. Most creators make the mistake of just starting at the beginning and then throwing in random details as they go along with the story. There's no clear plan. They'll talk about one thing, then they'll jump to the next, and then they just hope it all ties together at the end. But instead, the story feels scattered, the viewers are left confused, or worse, they just click away altogether to find another creator who's more charming, more handsome, and more charismatic, like me, for example. So you have to write your stories with the end in mind first. That way you know what details to include, what to skip, and everything is streamlined to lead towards that aha moment. And if you think about it, Christopher Nolan is basically the puzzle master of filmmaking. Movies like Inception or Interstellar, they're like puzzles designed backwards. There's always that epic plot twist at the end, and then you realize something that happened earlier in the movie was actually foreshadowing that epic plot twist, and it makes it hit so much harder. So before you start your next script, ask yourself these 3 questions. What's the final picture I want to paint? How do I want my viewers to feel by the end? And what's the message they'll take away? So start with the end in mind, or just wing it. It's your call, whatever you want to do. But here's the thing, even when you know the big picture, your story needs a heartbeat, and that heartbeat is called the 5-second moment. It's what I've used with my clients to get hundreds of thousands of views on back-to-back videos. And without this 5-second moment, your story falls flat because it's the thing that holds everything together. Every action before and after revolves around this one moment. But first, I'm gonna ruin every story you've ever loved. Think of your favorite book or movie. It might feel like it's packed with action, drama, and complex characters, but at its core, it all comes down to 5 seconds. Yep, 5 seconds. That's all it takes to define an unforgettable story. Because if you think about it, every great story is about change. It's about going from that before to after. You start as one version of yourself, and by the end of it, you're somebody different, somebody stronger, or maybe broken. Here's an example. Think of The Lion King. You probably remember the epic battle at Pride Rock or Hakuna Matata, but the real moment is when Simba sees his dad in the sky. In that instance, he realizes something huge. He's not just running from his past, he's running from himself. And to take his place as king, he has to stop running and face who he really is. That's his 5-second moment. Everything else in the story, the battles, the songs, the characters, they're just there to support this 5-second moment. But how do you structure your story like this? Well, just follow these 3 simple steps. I used to feel this way until one day this happened, and that's when I realized. And when you get this right, your stories will now start to hit your viewers emotionally. That means more return viewers, more trust, more views, and more growth to your channel and business. But if you want to make the storytelling even easier, then I've got an AI prompt to help you. Just do a quick brain dump of your story idea, or take an old piece of writing that you've done in the past, drop it into the prompt, and then ChatGPT will organize it into a clear story structure that you can use right away. It's how I cut my script writing time in half while keeping my stories concise and to the point. You can try it out for free, just click the link in the description. Now, most people don't realize this, but there's actually a way to tell stories that make people hang on to every single word. It's a hack that I use with one of my clients to create a video that performed 448 times better than their usual uploads. And the secret, it's rhythm. But rhythm isn't just for musicians or poets. It's a tool for writers and creators too. It's the natural pacing that feels satisfying to the brain. So when your delivery has rhythm, your audience stays engaged without even knowing why. If you're a musician, this might come naturally to you. But if you're like me and rhythm isn't quite your thing, it's okay, don't worry. You can still learn it. So to show you what I mean, here is a quote from Gary Provost. This sentence has 5 words. Here are 5 more words. 5-word sentences are fine, but several together become monotonous. Listen to what is happening. The writing is getting boring. The sound of it drones. It's like a stuck record. The ear demands some variety. Now listen. I vary the sentence length, and I create music. Music. The writing sings. It has a pleasant rhythm, a lilt, a harmony. I use short sentences, and I use sentences of medium length. And sometimes, when I'm certain the reader is rested, I will engage him with a sentence of considerable length, a sentence that burns with energy and builds with all the impetus of a crescendo. The rolls of the drums, the crash of the cymbals, sounds that say, listen to this, it is important. So write with a combination of short, medium, and long sentences. Create a sound that pleases the reader's ear. Don't just write words, write music. So yeah, that quote pretty much just explains everything for me, but let's show a practical tip that you can use to do this. Now, when I write my scripts, I keep my sentences on a separate line. That way, when you glance down the page, you can see the lengths of each of your sentences. You can then draw a line that connects the ends of your sentences, and if you see a jagged edge, then that is proof that each sentence is a different length. Now, earlier I mentioned that storytelling is a necessity if you want to build a brand on YouTube, but there's a new specific type of storytelling that's helping small channels blow up with their first few videos. It's the same approach I've used to hit over 40,000 views on one video after hundreds of flops, and I've repeated it many times since. So if you want to do the same, then check out this video next to see exactly how I'd master storytelling in 2025.